Yeah, sorry, that's right.
Okay, so apologies for absence.
None received.
Okay, point 65, declarations of interest. Receiving declarations for any dispensations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary items. Yes.
Was the pecuniary interest in Glasgow?
Okay. That's point 73, isn't it?
And later.
And yeah. Okay. Anyone else?
I don't know if I have to with being mulch bank member.
There's nothing on the agenda for that, so this time.
It would rest getting colours of mulch bank.
Right, okay.
If you declare as
Non-pecuniary, yeah.
just to be.
Just
I would say that's non-pecuniary, please.
Okay. Okay. Okay, point 66. Resolve to approve as a correct record of the notes of the minutes Council held on 15th of August 2022. Yeah, proposal for that?
Second one, please.
All in favour?
Initial one, that says report. Sign date. 26. Yeah. Initial one.
Okay, point 67 to receive a report from the clerk.
Alright, so we've had a complaint received about overhanging yew trees at Park Road Cemetery. I've replied saying the winter maintenance work will soon begin. The football club have been training at Netherfield and damaged the gate. Football club are aware. And a complaint from Tesco's re the overhanging trees, which is on the agenda. I've explained that it's our policy to not go on to neighbouring land to cut back trees, as is the same for paragraph 1 above. So that's basically it.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah,
So which trees are we talking about in the cemetery?
we use the back on to, I think it's the bungalows, is it Tenters?
And centres? Right, okay.
May not be used, but they've told me it's used, so.
Right.
And I'm presuming overhanging into their gardens, yeah?
Presume so, and I'll go and have a little look, see if I can work out where they're talking about.
I was going to say, it's the same thing applies to them as what applies to Tesco.
Yeah, if we can cut from our side, it's fine, but if it's the Tenters, it's not the caravan park, is it? Because they got the hedge there.
Can't quite remember. I think I've put it in open spaces. It seems such a long time ago because of having to delay the meeting. Can I come back to you?
Come back to me again. If you let me know where
Oh, no, it's Edinburgh Walk, sorry.
Edinburgh Walk.
But I'm not sure, because it said that we trim the trees on the roadside, so do you have any LCC trees down there?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the...
There's no new trees down there. But there are, I'll have a look and see if you let me know the name of the person, then that will identify where we're talking about.
Okay, thank you. Okay, point 68, Carts Park. A, to resolve to agree to recommend full council the way forward with the slide following the offer from the supplier. So the offer from the supplier was to replace the top section, additional piece of the top, piece of the top section, and then to turf or grass seed around the top of the mound, or the mound itself, as to whichever we define is what we want. Any thoughts, any views?
So that's a bit of it, what about bumps underneath it and the curvage and it not being level at the bottom?
So obviously you've seen have you seen the report that's come back in from them on what they're offering? I know there is a weak point at the bottom,
Yeah.
which they've not stated in there.
It's a good solution to the top.
It's a partial solution to the top. I don't think it still goes the full way that we want it, because it's still not a level surface at the top, and it never will be a level surface at the top unless they either raise the level
Yeah.
or they reduce.
Yeah.
Because it's all right having the barriers there, it will stop people falling off, but that's not then how we wanted it moving forward, because we wanted to create different ways up. You can't then create different ways up because you've got nowhere for them to gather at the top. So it's a partial solution, but I don't think it goes the full way.
Well, the agenda point is to recommend to full council our way forward. So, what would you suggest as your way forward? Do you see your way forward as well in that sense that it doesn't meet
I don't
what we want it to
think
be?
it doesn't meet what we are wanting.
Okay.
It is a partial solution, and we accept that they are trying to resolve the situation, but it still does not solve the whole situation, and you know, ultimately they're going to have to come up with a better solution.
Okay.
Or they're going to have to take it away. Choice is theirs.
Okay.
They don't pay for it.
No.
So it's no skin off our nose, is it? But I suspect what they've tried to do, they've tried to come up with a solution that will solve some of the issues, but it's a cheap solution, because it's not an expensive solution. It's adding 2 boards, a couple of pieces of equipment that's going to be negligible to them. If they have to do major groundworks, that's a lot of money they're going to be chucking away, and they want to avoid that if at all possible.
I think if you look at the overall concerns that we had with the slide, putting an extra platform at the top and grass in the mound, yes, makes it easier for them to get up in one sense, and it does make it less of a step up, which was one of our concerns. However, the steepness of the slide is still bordering on, too steep. The bumps on each section going down because of the steepness of the slide is accentuated. The harsh surface, if you put your hands out to try and stop, is still there. They won't do anything to address that. And when you come to the bottom of the slide, you're still going to get water runoff into the slide, and you're still going to be flat on the floor when you get there. So I think we'll propose to full council that we reject their offer
And go back to
and go back and say, it needs totally sorted or taken out.
or taken away.
Do we give them some of the recommendations what we're asking for?
I think it would make sense that we give them the idea of why we're not happy with it, but...
I mean, when we had the meeting with them, we did make it very clear what our concerns were, and I also made it clear to him what the thought process was about the whole idea when we were asking for the quotes in the first place. And he understood what we were talking about, but then he's gone away and he's tried to solve it as cheaply as possible, which I understand why. I mean, they've already thrown a lot of money at it. It's not going to be a cheap solution for them, whatever they have to do. So they've got 2 choices. They either come up with a suitable solution that we can agree to, or they have to take it away.
So, proposal for that? Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Second is Steve. All in favour? Okay, point B, discuss and resolve to agree Bowls Club maintenance. Do you want to give some background on that?
Obviously, we met with Bowls Club. They are no longer able to take on a lease with us. They haven't got enough members, they haven't got enough income coming in. They still wish to use the facility, so the idea is that we would take over managing the facility. They would book out the sessions they want, we would charge them X amount per session, blah, blah, blah. But that means that it would also be able to be rented out to other people as well.
Or are we just leaving it open to the public as well?
No,
Okay.
not completely open. Not at this stage. It would be bookable. Anybody can book it. Other groups, members of the public, but it would still be on an access code. So you would go in for your period of time and you would come out again until we can solve any issues that we have with antisocial behaviour. If we get CCTV, and then maybe we can leave it open all the time, but at this current stage it wouldn't be. They gave us the full maintenance schedule of what they do, because obviously we haven't got a clue because we've not done it for many, many years. I have given it to the parks team to go away and look at, and one of them is looking at it in full detail. But it's a lot of work, and I don't know how much time they would be able to actually devote to it. I do believe that that's probably slightly excessive, because obviously they are particular about it because it was their green. If it's more of a public green, then you're probably not going to go quite so, but it's still a lot of work. So we're waiting for the parks team to report back to us on their thoughts about it. So we can't really say we're definitely going to be doing it, but we, under the other situation with the tendering, I do think we need to look at tendering that out as a separate entity and just seeing in case we can't do it.
Mhm. I think it makes sense putting it out to, or arranging a tender, or to recommend full council to arrange a tender.
Yeah.
Purely because it gives us
Options.
two options to go down, as opposed to saying we're going to take it on and then we don't end up taking it on. I think the other thing we need to put to maybe back to full council is utilising the actual space for other, you know,
That has been
other
discussed.
efforts.
Yeah, it
If
has
you're
been
going to cut
discussed.
that to a bowling green standard, there isn't a lot else you can do there apart from bowls.
No, I didn't mean I didn't mean the actual green. I meant the actual.
Building.
Yes.
Yeah, that's been discussed at PPES
Okay.
about options.
Yep.
And how we can move that forward. There's still a bit of work to do on that, so
Yeah.
that'll come back to council once we've
I was
got.
going to say because there's crossovers there
There
in
is.
cost of
Yeah, absolutely.
maintenance and
Yeah.
the place which
Yeah.
needs to be addressed if that's the case.
Mhm.
So, proposal is to put out to tender and see what sort of prices
Yeah,
we
to
get back in.
create a tender for the work and put it out and get some feedback as to pricing.
I suppose we should draw up the tender and then get approval on the tender first.
Yeah.
And then in the interim we'll go back and have a meeting with park staff and see what their thoughts are.
Does all the equipment belong to the bowl staff?
Yes, it does. So again, that's something else that we need to look at, how we would do that moving forward. So there's a lot of things that need ironing out, but we've got plenty of time to do that, because they will obviously do the autumn maintenance before they finish, because their lease ends in October. So they will have done the autumn maintenance, but then from that point, we need to be working out fairly rapidly whether we're going to start the process so it doesn't decline, and then somebody else potentially takes it on further down the line.
And am I right in thinking that now that's the only bowls green we have in Harwich?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, proposal? Yeah, take that. Thanks very much. Okay, point C, to discuss and resolve to agree a way forward with overhanging trees on the east boundary.
Do you know which ones we're referring to?
On Cars Park, I'm presuming they're the ones beside Tesco's, yes. Yeah. Obviously, we've seen the communications going backwards and forwards to and from Tesco. What's people's viewpoints in relation to the overhanging trees?
As none of them have been flagged up on the tree report as being dangerous, then there is no urgency from our point of view. Obviously, we have got trees on the tree report that are far more important to get done than those are. I get that obviously some of the branches are quite low, and if we can tackle them from our side, then there's no reason because they're talking about naming their delivery area, aren't they? So
Yeah.
we can't access their delivery area anyhow.
No.
Not without supervision. And we can't go on their site because we're not covered by insurance. So the only way we can do it is from our side, if at all possible. If not, they're going to have to do it themselves.
Okay.
And from their point of view, they are able to do that. They
Yeah.
can cut down overhanging trees, the same as anybody else can. And if it's impacting on their deliveries, they put their delivery bay there.
Mhm.
It was their choice to do it. The trees were there before they built the building.
Okay.
Can I just make a quick
Yeah.
observation?
Yeah.
I saw a 40-footer reverse into there on Friday, didn't go anywhere near the trees at all when it was turning around or coming back out. So,
Okay. Obviously, the communication going backwards and forwards has got to a point of we can't do anything because of the previous or the recent history with the Queen. So that was where we currently got up to, wasn't it? That we
I said I would
couldn't
put it
action
on
anything
your
until it's on the agenda.
agenda. That's why it's on the agenda.
Okay.
But the person wanted an instant response.
Okay. The only concern I can see is, in effect, they are our trees, our responsibility in that sense. If they deem it as being health and safety or whichever route they go down, then are we going to get to a point where they action them to be cut and then issue us with a bill for it? That's the only concern I've got. If that,
They could do.
you know,
Absolutely they could do. If it's health and safety concern, then we will be dealing with it ourselves. If it's their health and safety concern, for their staff or or the public, then they have the right to do it.
Mhm.
Yes, they may bill us for it, but we'll cross that bridge if it happens. But ultimately, we have more pressing issues, quite frankly, that we need to deal with at the minute.
okay.
Can I just say, when I've researched about overhanging trees, nobody can force you to cut your trees that are overhanging on someone else's property. You can't be forced into it.
Okay, so from the legalities then, they are quite within their rights to cut the trees back as much as they see fit, and then lob the stuff over a fence.
No.
No?
Can't love it on.
They can offer it back to us.
Okay,
and it can only cut as far as the border as well, can't they?
right. So proposal then go back to them saying if they wish to cut them down, we've got no problems with them cutting down as far back as they see fit to the border.
And also that we will be doing our general maintenance throughout the winter, and
Yeah.
those trees will be addressed at some point.
Yeah.
But it's not a big priority because it's not been flagged up on
Okay.
the report.
No problem. If we can go back to Tesco and
Would be mindful if they do any cutting work themselves, not to unbalance the trees. Is the issue.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to work with them.
it would. So if we can go back to Tesco then, and that's a proposal going forward.
We've been offered to meet them on site if that's going to help placate the situation and talk about options.
Okay.
But it's not going to be instant from our point of view because we've got other things that need more priority. So if they want to get on with it,
Yep.
then they're going to have to take action themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, so if we can, proposal then to let them know what we've discussed in the sense of we're willing to meet on site and discuss it. It'll be later on in the season. It won't be an immediate fix. And if they need it doing as a matter of urgency, then it's going to have to be down to them to do that. I'll propose that. Thank you, Rachel. All in favour? Cemeteries. 69A, to resolve to agree to create a new cremated remains road in the cremated remains area by the cemetery chapels in Parkroad Cemetery.
Basic plan.
And the two roads go on the inside of what's existing, yeah?
Having been a look at it over the weekend, what you've currently got is 2 rows of 2s, so you've got 2 back to back and another row of 2 back to back and the same on the other side. If you're going to put if you put a single row and a single row, it's going to look a bit odd. So it would be better to put another double row in the centre of that area if at all possible. because then you've still got a strip either side that you can get access to, but you're going to end up, if you do a single row, it's either going to be facing each other or you're going to have the back
Yeah.
part, and it's just going to look a bit odd. Because you've got quite a wide strip in the middle.
We've only got 2 actual plots left.
Instead of creating 2 separate with a pathway down the middle, why don't you do back-to-back again?
Yeah, it would make more sense.
And 2 lots, 2 new lots.
You know, you wouldn't
Near
get
to
2
each other,
lots,
how do
you
you
would get-
do?
you would get another double in the centre of that area that you've got there now that's vacant. You wouldn't get any more.
Instead of having a row like that,
Yeah.
bring them into the middle of what's
Yeah, and do back to back.
Got no problem with that.
It makes more sense because then it balances what you've already got there.
And what capacity will that bring? How many is on each
Yeah, I
row?
think it's 40 in a row, but that is, let me check, see.
And the existing rows that we've got each side of the path, we're not using those.
But down the new bit, you mean down in the burial area?
Yeah.
We do use them,
Yeah, but
yeah, but currently,
Yeah.
until we get the
as much as
numbering,
possible, we
yeah.
will put them there if they want to go into Parkway.
Yeah.
Right, obviously, they're planned out to go each side, so obviously thoughts been looked into about what's currently underneath. Does that impact it if we put them in the middle of that section?
No, it doesn't.
No, okay.
So we've got 4 rows effectively at the moment,
No,
haven't we?
yeah, you've got 4, yeah, so because each row's a double, isn't it?
40 on each side, so that would give us 80, well, 80s that give you effectively 160 plots or 160 available spaces, even though some people only want to put 1 set in, because it can put 2 sets per plot.
Yeah.
So that would give you effectively 160.
So proposal then, bringing those 2 rows into the middle of what's currently there and doing a double row.
Yeah, the back-to-back again.
Rob proposes, Rachel seconds. Steve is agreed, I'm agreed. Steve, discuss and resolve to agree a way forward with the school population in Park Road Centre.
This was a staff request.
There's nothing wrong with swirls in Parkway Central.
Hearing.
Okay, so quite easy one to deal with then. We don't need to do anything. Proposer, second, yeah, all in favour? Yeah. Moving on.
I would like our water tub sorted out, because don't we get a wildlife in there?
We need to probably purchase new ones then because I know there's some holes in the corners.
Yeah.
So, seeing as that's in relation to coming under the same viewpoint of dealing with the squirrel population, then can we also order a couple of troughs?
We've not got anything else.
Well, it's to deal with the way forward with the squirrel population, so if we're feeding them, it's like a way forward with their...
We certainly need to put a net over barrels, because especially now coming up towards winter, I think the little birds dropping in there, not being able to get out.
If we have a look at if we've got anything that is able to be utilised, I'm sure we've got stuff that's hanging around.
Okay.
If we get them mesh built and get some low water feeders, then they're not going to go into the barrels.
Okay, point C, to resolve to agree to investigate the cost of purchasing a stake and banding machine.
Do you know what one's for?
I'm presuming to band around the headstones.
It's when
Yeah.
We purchased one before.
Ah,
Yeah, you didn't, I did.
no,
Because I did investigate that, as I saw it on the thing.
Okay, so investigate the cost. I think if we need one, then we need to investigate the cost of it, personally, so... Anybody else got views?
Look at the cost and then we decide, I think, is it next year we'll do the total test again?
Yeah, I think it's next year or 25.
So we've got time, so it can be budgeted for next year, basically.
Yeah.
can't it?
Okay.
qualification to the current part staff. Have the qualification to do the double test, all they need to go on.
They should go on the course. Don't have to.
Yeah, it's not a requirement that there is a course that they can do it.
Right, so I'll propose that we investigate the cost of blind issue. Second, all in favour? D, to resolve to agree to begin composting.
Well, what are you thinking of putting in it and how you're going to hold it? And what sort of composting bin you're going to use? It depends what you're going to be putting in it.
I was asked to put it on the agenda.
So they didn't say what they were putting in it or what they wanted it for.
Well, it's just we have nowhere to get rid of our garden waste. We can't put it in the weed bins because we borderline with going to be charged again for overweights.
So you're talking leaf debris and things like that?
Yeah,
Right,
the things that you can't put through the shipper.
okay.
We don't have anywhere to dispose of.
So you're talking the volume we have, you can need to be quite large, don't you?
Yes,
Yeah, the only way forward that I can see it is no point buying a epoxy compost bin because it's going to be no use at all, and you're going to have to purpose build them, aren't you? And then you've got to think where you can put them, and the only place I can think is that you're going to have to put them within the cemetery in Park Road and tuck them into the back areas so they're not on full view all the time, because you're going to get somebody that's going to decide it's safe and try and set fire to it or do something with it or whatever. So if it's out of the way, then it's not really an issue. You can't put it behind a tractor shed or anything like that. That wouldn't work.
I don't know what composting facility in the centre.
Well, I don't know where else you can put it in.
Well, what's the area currently where, I'm presuming it's where the surplus soil is left at the bottom end of the, right at the bottom corner? Is that, because to me that looks like a compost heap anyway.
It shouldn't be there, should it?
So, and is it that we have one location and they then have to take all the leaf soilage to that one location from each location that they're going to take it, or?
So we could look at having another bin. Because you're going to create quite a bit.
Then you go down the route of making them out of pallets. If you look on YouTube on the gardeners' tips and things, there's quite a few on there that are made out of old pallets, and they do 3 sections. And you fill up the first one, give it a couple of months, and then turn it over into the second one, refill up the first one, and
You're
then
talking a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, but
And we would still be happy.
yeah.
Well, we've got the utilisation of, you think, Batsford Lane allotments. There's an allotment there that we can't do anything with at all.
Yeah, you could do it down there.
Why not convert that into a compost site? The allotment holders can utilise it, and if you like, manage that as well. They can get the compost out of that to use, and they've got a place where they can just drop it off.
Would you be able to use it?
You have to say that's the one we can't use.
As long as you've got something, a barrier underneath it, it'll be fine. You'd need a barrier of your membrane of some sort, wouldn't you? Then you build your compost bins on top. Then you put use them as compost heaps, and then you could sell it on back if you wanted, couldn't you?
You want your ground worms to come up into it and eat it, don't you?
You can have, there's some granules you can put in, which will help.
The only other option, if you are going down there, is to do the area that is
Rubbish
the rubbish pile.
Could do that.
Do it
That'd be
there.
nice, Gavin.
You've got a route to get down there.
Mm.
And if people do start putting waste on there, it's the area where the waste goes. So it's not ideal if people do, but
But that
That's
can be a lot.
Battlefield is getting it there, isn't it?
We have
Yeah.
the trains.
Get it down there, have got the waste handling licenses for the waste.
But
There isn't a problem.
I thought they
Yes, there is.
leaf mould, world's best
Well,
compost.
it would be sensible to look at it, because previously any green waste was dumped at our fields, and it's still there. And you know, we can't use that area either.
So obviously, if that's come from the staff in relation to agree to begin composting, then maybe we can discuss that at work scheduling, where we can say this is a proposed area. If they go down the pallet route and they want to make an area out of it, then we've got to
I'd like to see
it.
a container, because obviously doing the heaps, you've got obviously doing dead job times. So if they're going to do something, do it right.
Proposer for that? Thanks, Richard. Second, all in favour? Okay, 70.A, allotments. To resolve to agree to form a car parking area at the rear north-west of Battlesfield allotments.
Where does that work out now?
That's,
It's the plot we can't use.
no, it's the
And the other one.
the other one.
So we've got
the
two.
rubbish department.
So
Oh, no,
it's
all
either or. So there was two that we earmarked as we
Yeah.
went down to the inspection. So the plot we can't use, we may as well make some use of it and put a gravel area that they can park, and also where the rubbish pile was, once it's cleared, you could do it there. But if you're going to use
So
one
we're going to use that to
for your compost,
compost,
then
we can't use that
you're
area.
not going to need that. It's just trying to tidy up the area to make it a bit more.
I think it makes sense to put a membrane and gravel down on the area, the plot we can't use, because other than that, it's just going to get weeded upon weeded season after season. But if this, I'm presuming, Jan, I'm right in thinking that this is the one in the top corner, the rubbish heap one, yeah?
Yeah, the rubbish heap, and it's just constant, you know, you get people coming in, phoning, emailing, because rubbish is being dumped there.
Okay, well, in that sense then, can I propose that we go back and speak to them about the composting? Because if they're going to have a compost area there, and that's where we're going to deem it, then there won't be a car parking area there, because we're using it for compost. At least that way it's a designated area. I mean, there was talk of the allotment holders putting, like horsebook there, wasn't it? Was that what they initially spoke about?
Yeah, fertilise on all
I
those.
did speak to them
Fertiliser.
after again, but whatever if you put compost there, they're just going to dump rubbish on it. It's got to be nothing to do with any waste material, because people keep driving up there and dumping their rubbish.
So therefore, we need to put a gate there with the combination like the other side,
So they can't
stop
get out.
random driving down there.
That's your agenda item, so
Can we go back to the designated person down there and just say we've talked about the two ideas of either car park or making a compost area there. They may well be happy to create a compost area for us
yeah.
if we clear the site. And then they are going to create what they need in that area, the way they want it. They're going to be more minded to tackle people that are dumping, if it's something they've created themselves, aren't they? Potentially. I mean, we can still, this agenda item, we can agree to create one if it's required,
Yeah.
if that's what people want. But you've got your two options available to you then, haven't you?
So proposal to agree to create a car parking area if one is needed.
Yeah.
At the bottom end, dependent on the outcome of communicating with them about composting. Yeah, I'll propose something. Thank you, Rachel. All in favour? B, to resolve to agree the cost of the signage at the allotments. You saw the signage on the costings of that is £60. What's that, I believe?
It's 360 because you've got six
Six
sites.
sites.
And then you've got the cost of posts and installation and concrete in the ground as well.
Basically, what you're going to do up to about 500 then. What am I doing? 450.
And I don't know what budget you want to spend. We've still got some money in the maintenance if you want to spend it from there.
It makes sense to come out of the allotment budget if we can, yeah. So 360 is going to be the cost of the signage. And then yeah, it's going to be under 450, isn't it? So it doesn't need to go to full council. So proposer to agree to buy the signage and get it erected. Yeah, Steve seconds. Okay, it's discussed and resolved to agree to a gate at Battersfield Allotments.
So depending on what the outcome is at the bottom, just whether we put a gate on or not. Or does it need one?
I think if it's an ongoing thing down that side.
But doesn't the tractor driver sometimes use that for accessing his field? Because that isn't exactly.
But you would be given the code for it as well.
Okay.
So,
So will you get a tractor for with his machine?
You could make it big enough that you could.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
But you're talking big gate then, aren't you?
Yeah.
And a few pennies.
Yeah. So it's going to have to be budgeted for next year.
so
So if we can get some costings for a gate,
Yep.
we're going to have a quick guesstimate of what you want to put in your budget in next year. Steve, any idea of which gate?
I know where it's getting from.
Any idea of cost?
Cost wise, not off the top of my head, no, not stupid money. I did do some last year, so I can let you know sort of tomorrow what I paid.
Yeah, it'd be useful, because then
Mm.
at least we can build it into the
I used
budget.
moulds, storage, sanded.
Yeah.
They're really good, they're in the stock as well. On the shelf, take away. 4 and 6 in for the gates.
Yeah, that's what you're going to need, aren't you?
And gates or barriers.
The other side is a gate, isn't it?
The other side's a 5-bar gate, yeah, with a padlock with a combination of, that seems to work really well.
So a barrier, they might just still shimmy and then drag
Yeah,
it
yeah.
down.
And the
Yeah.
metal.
sort of prices on here for a 5-bar gate, anywhere from 150 to 300 quid as a ballpark figure.
Moulds.
Huh?
Moulds, is it?
No, it was just Google search.
Moulds with metal, it's all wooden cables.
Yeah, no, that,
Magnets in it.
yeah, that was metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And the post you want, don't you?
So if
Yeah,
if you
unfortunately,
get a,
everything is extra, you have to buy that separate, the cap separate.
if you could get us a price and give us an idea then, so we can get it into the budgeting
Yeah.
before we meet on
So if I do
finance.
budget for next year, get
Yeah.
costings, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Fraser?
Okay.
Second there, thanks Rachel. Yeah. Yeah, 16 foot from Knowles, 256.
Yeah. Look at the 2 buttons, sides and put it under the 100 quid on top for the extras, and that's it.
Allotments D to receive an update on the wait list.
Right, there's 3 people still on the waiting list, plus another one who's already got a plot and wants another one. When the clearing works have been completed, there'll be 10 to 14 plots available at battlefields. I'm waiting for replies where allotments have been offered, but once they've been cleared, then we need to advertise, because we've got more allotments than people wanting them. The smaller part of allotment 2 at Plank Hook is a very thin narrow strip and has always been rented out with the adjacent plot. I tried to get somebody to take it as it was, and it was just too small and too narrow, but they're happy to take it on. They're on the adjoining plot and this little strip, so if everyone's happy with that, I'll just let that on anyway. So yeah, the waiting list is coming down. There's quite a lot of going backwards and forwards to the allotments all the time, but we're getting through it, so.
Yes.
Can we then just start the process of getting it advertised? Just put out something on Facebook saying that there will be some allotments available if there's anybody interested to contact. Because then we don't want them sitting there and getting weirded up again, do we?
No. And the ones where we gave notice because they weren't being used, that was up on Friday, and when I was up there Friday late afternoon, nobody's attempted to do anything on those plots, and they haven't contacted us, so technically now they're back to being ours again.
Point 71A, to discuss and resolve to agree the situation with the vehicle access at Netherfields. Do you want to give a bit of backstory because you've been involved in that, haven't you?
Well, I think people are messing around with it, forcing it up to gain access. But if they, I said to Joan, if they actually ran and say, these are dangerous, I'd happily walk down and knock them, rather than enforce it. I think because they don't, often knock them. There's 3 other access points into the park. They don't need vehicle access, do they?
What was the thought process behind actually having the hard standing there in the first place when it was first put there? Was it to have vehicles standing on it?
Yeah.
The problem is, if you leave it open to them to do that, you'll never get kids out there. And night time, they end up being like the car park was.
That's one of the fires.
Yeah, the noise would be horrendous. You get kids whipping around the park and in the cars and motorbikes. That's what I personally like off.
And with the survey we did, was that last year?
Last year.
It was last year. That they still wanted pedestrian access for the people living there.
Yeah, problem is that. You know why I do that, is it? Because I just force it open. Unless
But the next road across,
there is one, yeah.
there's a pedestrian
There's
access.
2 others and 2 next cul-de-sacs, and around the other side there's another one.
Because if you force all pedestrians that way, you're going to get even more vehicles out of that avenue, which is dispersing out through the avenues, because that causes problems as well.
It does cause a problem. However, this year we haven't had any complaints whatsoever about parking down there, none whatsoever. So those, I mean, obviously the people that are forcing it are going in because they are doing whatever they're doing, training or whatever, or they're doing it in the day. Whatever's happening is happening. But when I've been down there at various points, there's probably only been, half a dozen cars actually physically parked in there, and the others have been parked elsewhere, and it hasn't been causing any issue. Now, I can't say that it won't cause an issue, but I think ultimately we can't afford to have the problem carrying on, whereby you've got a real danger of severe antisocial behaviour at night, or worse, where you end up people moving in overnight. We don't want that happening. That's going to be an absolute nightmare.
So your proposal would be?
I would agree with Steve that we lock it off, we can revisit it next year again or whatever. If we start getting major issues, then we're going to have to revisit it again. We may have to invest in new gates there and make it more so it's not being able to...
An access gate in one of the gates.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to look at that as a potential to do that, but to stop the problem happening now, it's got to be locked.
Anyone else got any viewpoints?
There's no way we can fix it so it cannot be forced in. That's all.
We've already
The problem is pins, they're managing to lift it, it's such a big gate. Unless you've got a hell of a lot longer pin, then you're drilling down further.
That's how they address it last time, wasn't it?
Yeah. And they're just, apparently I was seen with a hacksaw taking bits off the gate. I quite sure that was about, but
Okay, so proposal is at the minute then to lock the gates up and we revisit it.
with nights getting dark as well, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea keeping them locked for now.
If we amend that and say the proposal is to lock the gates through the winter months,
Yep.
and then we'll revisit it before springtime.
Okay. So that's proposed, second. Thanks, Steve. All in favour?
We agreed after the survey not to shut it, the number is the number.
I'm getting several complaints a week. People are driving in there in vans and everything.
But then we don't get what we...
Okay, is there a way then that
We put it out to the public, got their opinion, and now we're changing our minds.
Do you know what football team is that use it?
Yes,
And who's it?
it's the family.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
But
They
they-
do need to look at more bins down as well, because they just lob the drinks bottles all over the place.
But their work we don't see.
But the academy don't know anything about this particular person using it.
And I think it's gone beyond the football because they've stopped using it and there were several vans going in there allegedly. Last week, somebody contacted me on Sunday afternoon, Saturday evening, somewhere around there.
Is it during the day the vans go in? Because the lady, right next to the gate, having some work done, don't know if it's the builders going there, and parking there, so not blocking the road.
It's not her builders going in there. There was concerns about who it could be going in
I can understand that, I mean, you don't need my vote.
I think
You don't.
I think the issue is, had it been, it is the people that are living there that are complaining about the issue. So they are the same people that we consulted in the first place, and they're the same people that wanted it as pedestrian access, but now it's causing them issues.
I think we need to, if we agree to lock it currently, revisit in spring, but also put a note on there that we need to put a longer term fix in, so we're still having a pedestrian access there in a new gate system that we have.
And then we're going to put a sign on the gate saying this will be closed for the
Yeah.
foreseeable future or whatever.
We say that it will be closed through the winter months, and then we can look at it.
Isabel proposed, Steve seconded. I'm in agreement. Do you want to
there. Did you
abstain?
vote in Rachel?
Vote yes.
I agree with it, but something like that.
72, a notice reserved update there. Received an update from myself, the working party. There's no update to come. There's been no other meetings.
Have you got any costings for the project?
The gates came, fence work, depending on where you get it from, is in the region of
Oh, that's
Harlem.
what I just meant for the projects down there.
So, point 73A, to resolve to agree to recommend full council of grass tenders.
Has anybody got any thoughts on the,
I'm just wondering, because there's no time scale on there for how often to cut.
oops, sorry, I'm trying.
That normally what's happened in the past is that we initially have a meeting before they start, and we come up with a vague of fortnightly initially for so many weeks, depending on how it's growing. So it is very dependent on what the season's like at the time.
I think the basis before was on 30 cuts, I believe, isn't it? No? Okay.
It's always been done based on the season starts this time, ends that time. That can be altered according to how,
There's nothing there to stay.
no.
What
Just-
after?
So what we're after from the tender then is them to give us how much they're going to charge per, or how much they will charge per cut
Yeah.
on the areas.
Yeah, because that's, if you look on the appendix, it states each area, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's price per cut. So if we're getting it cut twice a week, then obviously we've then got to factor in that at certain times of the year you might end
I'll
up.
give the person putting the tender out an idea of what you're actually looking for.
I think it says in there how long the season is.
It says
In
how
the
long the
season,
season,
yes,
but it
but-
doesn't say how many,
Yeah.
whether it's a weekly cut or 2 weekly
It
cuts.
just says about grass height to be decided by conservation.
Thing is, if you put in 2 cuts, or say a cut of every week.
You could put cuts to be negotiated or seasonal, whatever, but there's no indication at all.
So where would you like that put in? Sorry.
Well, that's a big bit of speed,
Sorry, I'm just slow going. Right. So, structure.
You could even have a subheading of early or late spring, 2 cuts of like a cut every 2 weeks. And just state that it could be variable.
Just trying to look for a place to insert it. Period of contract, not machines. Damage caused. So, rather than carry on, so what do you want me to put in?
Just what's required.
Well, under the scope of works, it's got a number of cuts, number of grass cuts in any season may vary on weather conditions. So you could probably put something in there, sort of indicating that we would normally expect it
Yeah.
to be once a week
Yeah.
or something.
I mean, the season is what, 28, 30 weeks?
Yeah.
So one, so
you,
one a
you
week.
could say
So
normally.
normally around,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that on the first page?
Yeah, scope of works.
Oh, I see, yes.
Yeah, so just put a little bit into that.
Parish council but normally runs structure, but this can change, you see, no guarantee, a start and finish on number of cuts is given. Council,
I think on the basis of that, Rachel, that'll give them an idea of a ballpark figure, what they're quoting on, and then we can go from there. And it's still maintaining that it's under agreement when we agree with it.
Someone might look at it and think, oh, it's not worth a while, or it's not worth a while, start tendering.
Okay.
Then the only other thing that has cropped up is that there's an item under specification of works where it's referring to equipment to be used of the type or similar to the specification set out in Appendix 2. Well, there isn't any specification in Appendix 2, it's just the areas that you're putting into
Oh, right,
Appendix 2.
okay.
So we're not putting in the equipment type.
so on that one, I've just put the parish council would expect a weekly cut, although no guarantee can be given. And then on the other bit, rather than me read through, can you tell me which paragraph on it? I wonder it's probably going to be quite easy because it's going to say appendix.
And specification of works,
Yeah.
and it's in the first paragraph of that. So it's the second
Oh, right.
sentence. So it's unless otherwise agreed.
Contractor will use the equipment or equipment the same time as set out.
So you don't need
So
that.
just take the whole lot out.
Yeah.
Okay, so with those amendments, we have a proposer to recommend full council. This is Lot, second of Rachel. Agreed.
Sorry, so it was proposed by,
Isabel,
yeah, second by
Rachel.
Rachel.
I agree.
And the next item.
Next item is,
Going.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll alter the agenda item
That's
First.
been
to remove the,
duplicated, so
out of the agenda. Do we
take
need
it
to?
out and then don't do anything, so it's
Okay.
duplicated.
Right, okay, so down to 74A, Carter's Park Tree Report, to review the report and resolve to agree to tender for the tree work. So, quite self-explanatory, I think we need to go out to tender.
Yeah, if we go out for tender for the ones that have been flagged that
Yeah.
need, major work,
No problem.
as soon as we possibly can,
Okay,
and the rest we can start to schedule.
So A is go out for tender. So I'm going to propose for that. Thank you, Rachel. Second. Thank you. All agreed? And B is the
To
same.
review the report result, yeah. Proper cemetery. Cemetery, yeah.
And C.
Churchyards, exactly the same. Same in that report.
Alright. And then, great.
Okay.
Good. 75A, to discuss and resolve to agree to the request of a parishioner to assist with the cost of employing a professional to deal with their mold problem. Hold the chat.
Has the parishioner spoken to the person who looks after the area?
I don't know, it came from another councillor. Another councillor was approached when dealing with the notice board and promised it would go on the agenda.
I would recommend that the council go back to the person who speaks to the people who actually look after the planter. Because obviously we maintain it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what other things they have in place already.
If we go back to the whoever, just give them the option that if they were to require help with anything that they wish to do on that site, whether it be moulds or whether it's other stuff, they can apply for a grant, but they would need to fill out the form and get the costings and whatever that they wanted to do. So that's the easiest way.
Okay. So proposal is to go back to the parishioner and say, if they need any assistance with that, they can apply for a grant. Yeah, okay.
Well, speak to the planning field committee.
Yeah.
And then we can assist them.
Okay, proposal. Rachel, second that? Yeah. Great. B, to discuss and resolve to agree if the parish council will take responsibility for maintaining the war memorial.
I know the gentleman who already maintains the area. It's obviously doesn't belong to us anyway. The gentleman's been looking after it for quite a while now, and he does a really nice job, so I don't really understand the concern for the maintenance of the area. It does belong to the church, that area. So, I can't understand.
Is this from a parishioner request again?
Yeah.
Okay.
So council.
The area is extremely tidy and clean.
Okay.
The gentleman does a lovely job.
So proposal is then that there's no need for the parish council to get involved in this particular instance. Proposal? Second that? All agreed? Okay. 76, projects. To receive the quote for the tractor shed and youth area and resolve to agree to add the cost as a project for 2023-24.
Did ask for costings, but I didn't get any only from Isabel and Rachel. Isabel and Sophie.
Mine I'm really looking at because of another factor on here. Until that's sorted, mine's,
But we need to do the draft.
mine won't happen next year.
Right.
So the trampoline or the
No, the shelter.
the shelter.
So the projects that we agreed were the tractor shed and youth area.
On tractor shed, I haven't got firm quotes, but based on what we know from the shed that's currently being erected on our property, you're going to be talking, if you want a decent steel frame job, you're going to be talking at least 20, 25 plus.
And what do you want put in for the youth area?
Well, that's down to debate basically. Youth area, my thoughts, and alongside talking with Sophie, because she's obviously picking on me. I had originally thought about a concrete table. So that was that, and then I was also looking at more interesting seating, places for them to gather, so similar to your shelter, that sort of idea, and some form of climbing type thing that they like. They obviously like to climb things. Needs to be difficult enough that they can, if they feel like it's a challenge. So there was various things that we looked at, and that sort of led us down the route of the street workout equipment, which was sort of a combination of climbing plus punch bag, so they can knock 7 bars out of it if they feel the need, which is on there. So the costings, your street workout one, something similar to that was about £6. Table football is about £2. Another potential thing is a slack line, because again, cheap, they can tit about on it and try and do that. That's about 1,000. So in total, you're probably going to be 8-ish to do your youth area.
Can I just remind you, there'll be installation costs for that,
Yes,
concrete, etc.
yes, that's why I
Maybe
bumped
so.
it up a little bit.
So the total cost for your 2 bits is 33,000.
Potentially,
Well, do you think of the site and that sort of structure?
yeah, in the youth area where it currently is somewhere
Further away,
further, yeah.
away from the trees?
Yeah.
Did you do the inclusive swing? Swing, trampoline?
No, I wasn't doing that.
Yeah. that's
I'll
what
go
you
for the
were
shower.
Well, from we've got the prices for that as well. So,
Oh, well, you see that,
yeah. So, because we just looked at all sorts of different options, so you can pick and choose what you want to do. Shelter, if you wanted a shelter, you can get a really nice one for about 8,000. So that's an option. You've got hammocks, which are only about 900 quid. So you've got little bits that you can add in if you want to do different bits and pieces. Your inclusive roundabout and trampoline, you're talking around about 4,000 depending on the size that you have. I did look at an inclusive roundabout because we have talked about that as well. You're talking about 5,000 for that. So it depends on what things do you actually really want to go for and what do you not want to go for.
And using the space we've got.
Well, that's it. So there's plenty of options out there. You just need to decide you've either got to put it all in, and then Rick will have a dig for it.
Yeah, you keep your finger ready to look.
Or you've got to think seriously about what are we going to try and deliver, because if we're going to put it in the budget, we're going to have to deliver it next year, because if we don't, we're going to be in problems.
My suggestion on that, judging by just looking at the figures, especially, is to would be to hang off the tractor shed. Look at doing the things that we put forward. I think the trampoline, I think the youth area is a big one, because the more you can benefit the youth, the less antisocial behaviour you would expect to happen. And I think it is an area, we've got the small kids play area, we've got a bit of gym equipment, but we haven't really got anything for that next level up. So from that perspective, I think you're looking probably 12k for the inclusive trampoline, and for that youth area. My proposal on those two would be to put forward 12k for that. And then we revisit the tractor shed at a later point, maybe.
Sorry.
Yeah, 2 separate points, actually.
Yeah, 2 separate points.
So on A then, the youth area, which was 8 grand, and the tractor shed is 25. My proposal would be to ignore the tractor shed and go forward with the 8 grand. Second that?
Take the tractor shed out?
Yep. It may need to be looked into later down the line when we know a little bit more of how things are going.
On that. Where is it?
Yeah, Isabel proposed. I proposed, sorry, Isabel seconded. All in favour? Yeah. And B, to receive quotes for the shelter, inclusive trampoline. The shelter was what, 8K?
Inclusive trampoline school.
And the trampoline is 4.
Is there a particular reason why you didn't want to go down the route of shelter at the moment?
Looking at positioning and what else was in the area.
Okay.
I mean, there is a shelter there.
Not the area I was looking at.
Okay.
Where are you looking at, Rachel?
Further across the field.
Okay.
But until other issues are sorted out, I don't think it's a good idea.
Is that on the old cricket area? Okay.
So you would prefer not to put it in the area where the sort of within the youth area at the minute, you'd rather put it further out? Okay. So we could look at potentially doing some cheaper seating type, unusual seating within the youth area potentially, within that budget.
Yep.
We just look for the best options that we can do to give them a little bit extra, maybe.
And I think obviously the trampoline at 4K. I think.
Well, it utilises the sandpit area.
Yeah, that was initially going to be to replace what
Yeah,
the is.
it could do, or you might need to shimmy it.
You want to talk about Sunday?
Yeah, sandpit, we did look at that idea as well, because you
Yeah.
obviously have got the idea
Closed
of
it.
a covered one. The only issue with that is that they're not that robust. But there was the option of creating a sandpit within the existing sandpit. So you take down the fencing, but you make the existing sandpit smaller by using blockwork, and then you've got these like rubber matting things that fit over your blockwork. So it makes the edge safer, and then you fill around the edges with soil and just butt up to it. So you can make it much smaller and more manageable
Yeah.
size-wise, and then add in your sand into that. So you've got that option as well.
I think there's more ongoing cost of that, isn't there?
Yes, there is, yeah. That your sandpit, you could potentially do that for about £2,000.
So do you want to add in the sandpit?
About 2.5-ish, I think.
That's the one I saw. So
Yes.
it's all covered in anyway. But
Yeah.
that's like a school-based type of
Yeah.
Any idea price?
2.5.
2.5, so similar sort of,
Yeah.
similar sort of option.
Well, that'll give you both options, whether you
You want
want
to
to
take
take
out the shelter and put in that?
The
So
sandpit.
if you said 6.5 for the lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Netherfield.
I think the only thing you're going to need to think about in Netherfield currently is you're going to have to decide how you can mark out your football pitch, which is difficult. Which is not really going to have a huge cost implication, but now we're talking around the gate, we're going to seriously have to look at replacing that gate.
So what do you want to put in for projects for Netherfield?
Football. Well, I'd say
Walking football
Yeah.
was one thing.
football.
And get that running track put in
But you've got to look at really mark it out, so it doesn't have to be relined.
there. Well, that was on that school, didn't it? wasn't it?
Yeah, you can't do it. You're not allowed to do that. So it's an alternative way of creating permanent lines.
What guidelines is?
This was discussion with Parks team, qualifications and such thing.
So can I have a proposal and a second of
Yeah,
B,
proposed.
please? Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All agreed? And just see there for Netherfield, the figure you want to put in, project you want to do.
It's a difficult one because I go there every week and it's not used. There's quite a lot of equipment there for kids. There is quite a lot. It's not really used that much.
We've got a bit of vulnerability down there.
Actually, yeah.
Did right and then actually.
That would get used quite a bit. So
Very simple, different standards.
well, should we put a borderline figure of 5,000 in for nether fields? And then we can come back to it in the sense of what potentially we could look at.
Yeah.
Whether that be double agility, would that be goals for walking football, smaller pitches, that sort of thing.
So can I have a proposal for that? Second
So
that?
that's reached up to about
Thank
19 and a half.
I thought you could have one.
Okay.
Wow.
77A, to discuss and resolve to agree to recommend the provisional draft budget to the Finance Committee.
Do you want to recognize?
Yeah.
Right, so, Rick, myself and Sophie got together and so all the codes down on the left-hand side match up with our nominal code on the account software. So, certain things like the top one, plant and machinery renewals, is if you think of it as a savings club, so you put, it's not money to necessarily be spent, but it's money to be put in the
That was
savings
your
pot.
tractor and machinery
Yeah.
fund, if that makes sense.
So you've got to decide how much you want to put away this year towards those costs.
Is that 7.3 the current balance?
I mean,
So-
that was ours.
yeah.
And £2,000 was put in the actual budget.
That's what we had in, sorry, it's in, that should be last year's earmark reserve, because there was 7.3 and then,
Which were basically used.
Yeah. Yeah, so you haven't really got many earmark reserves left at all for your plant and machinery.
I think you're going to have to put at least number 2 in.
2.
Because if it's been put away, then you can start to build it back up again. We've just
Yep.
used it all, haven't we?
Yep.
We've got to put something in.
Then you've got horticultural supplies, so that, if you look through, you'll see that each site has been,
You've got horticultural supplies in Countess Park and the churchyard, which is like your plants.
And then it breaks down
Yeah.
into each part.
So horticultural supplies overall is your spraying stuff, basically.
and we will need to order it in this calendar. When I asked the Parks team about whether they needed any more, they said not this year, but then on further investigation, they were talking about the calendar year.
So how much are we looking to spend on spraying this year?
Sorry?
How much are we looking to spend on spraying this year?
I don't know, but we haven't spent anything this year at all.
Yeah, it will be.
No, but we will probably need to order something January, February time for the spring.
Okay.
But that, the 2,000 is way above and beyond what we would normally spend in a year.
What's the normal sort of figure we would spend in a year?
That's difficult because we were spending that, but we're not spraying. So this is the first year we haven't sprayed to the extent that we sprayed before. So it's,
I mean, we needed to purchase any yet.
and we haven't had to purchase anything yet, so we did have quite a stock.
Okay, is there going to be thoughts of planting up areas such as a war memorial? I know we're talking about that and it's a little bit further down, but obviously we can take it out if we're not going to spray. So if that's a spraying area, then drop it down to what we need. So if you're going to say 500 quid, if that will cover us per year.
I would have put more in 800.
Okay.
For me, I would just do a straight 1,000.
1,000.
Just, I think, yeah.
Just because we don't know, do we?
You can reduce it down later, can't you?
If we get a saving, we get a saving, but
So those are around 500.
That's, again, that's your earmark reserves, that's your saving club.
So that's different to your play equipment you're intending to spend next year.
Yeah, this is just,
That's just savings.
you know, the roundabout goes wrong and you've got to spend 500 quid on repairing it, that sort of thing.
If it's running at 3K, keep it at 3K, I would say.
if you suddenly find you're either going to end up having to repair several pieces of equipment, may or may not come to a huge amount of money, or you might have to take something out of commission for a period of time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you can afford to keep it at 3K, keep it at 3K. If we can't, we can tweak it, can't we?
about 19, I think you said.
19 and a half.
It's not because anything in red isn't
Yeah.
going in that pigeon.
Yes,
box,
the project will
it's
fit into
elsewhere.
the pigeon.
What do you want to do about your grass cutting costs? Do you want to, how are you going to estimate those?
And it'll be on.
Yeah, you can't, yeah.
I mean, maybe just round each one of those upwards, so do 2.5, 1.5, 500, 500.
We don't need the beacon
I
anymore.
don't need the beacons
Oh,
out.
really bacon, yeah. Can I do
What did you say for Holland?
2.5. 2.5, 1.5.
Yeah. And then that drainage, they've been overcharging us, so we won't put in anything for there. Tree survey, it's recommended now they're done every 18 months, so that means that they'll be due spring 24. I was trying to work out what you would do. So really,
It will come into that.
it will come into that budget, so
Whatever it's cost this year, it's going to be slightly more next year.
So I've already
So leave
included
3 grand.
that 1,500, so. Street furniture, do you want to explain what that is, Sophie?
So street furniture is stuff like your bins, your benches, if you were going to do a shelter, that would come under street furniture, etc.
Definitely need more bins.
Yeah, and they're not cheap.
No.
So that price that we put in is your bench renewals and your bins that you had last year. That's
There's
what
not
I think was.
metal bits inside those tyres at all.
And chips or bags.
Yeah.
That's what they've done was at A17, haven't
Yeah. So yeah, but we need a decent amount in there because you are going to need to.
Sorry, Paul, we're in a meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
You'll tell me when you're ready.
No.
Yeah, so we need
2
to
grand?
have at least 2.
Repairs and maintenance.
What does that come under? Because different things come under different.
So repairs and maintenance.
Because that's not machinery, is it? That's just
So
general repairs,
we
isn't it?
did have machinery and then we had repairs, service, maintenance, etc. Really long one. We combined them both together, but you've got separate cost centres for your machinery. So they come under those cost centres.
And your allotments.
So this is general repairs and maintenance, which I believe is for all of your open spaces sites apart from your allotments, such like sundries.
So when it comes down to like plant and machinery, right at the bottom, 350,
Mhm.
just under 315, that's item code 4455 per 1,000.
Yeah.
So is that top figure
That's the light cost
a
card.
total of all of that?
No.
So
No.
that's just a standalone?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's like your sundries, the car's park,
Yeah.
the cemeteries, churchyard, etc.
For repairs and maintenance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are we currently with our spend? Have we spent anything in that region? Or
I don't know, we looked at it, didn't we, the last, I can't remember, I'd have to look up because it's not as this on our current year.
I think you
You
could
see
lose
what I
it.
mean?
I think you could lose a grand off that, off the general sundries.
Thing is, it's things like nuts and bolts and it's surprising, I know that sounds a bit absurd, but it's surprising how it adds up. It's,
Keep it in at 3, that can be finalised at finance
trim
and a bit
cord
tweaking
and,
on.
Well, obviously a bit more savvy about ordering the Scots Park.
Oh, yeah.
Boxes.
That was one of the reasons we put the procurement policy in,
Yeah,
is
well,
that they buy them.
It needs a little bit
Yeah.
Yeah.
tweaking.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
so what do you want to put in there?
3.
Keep it at 3 and then we can tweak it once we work out exactly what it is.
Fuel, did you see my notes on the front? I mean, it's come down a bit, but it seems to be over budgeted than the situation we're in this year. Now, the litter picking precept, is
That's
some,
isn't it?
yeah, it's set in stone what we get, so we get that in.
Equipment and sacks was pretty much the same, isn't it?
Sorry, I can't think.
Equipment and sacks is going to be the same.
Yeah, that will be the same.
It's not like we're excessively underusing or overusing, so that's fine.
Drainage and allotment rents, repairs and maintenance to battlefields.
That's right, isn't
We need to add area in there as well.
Yeah, because that would be inclusive of your gate and things like that. And if you want to create
Up to
Compost.
1,000.
Yeah, we've got 1,000. It's actually something that costs you the most, isn't it?
Sorry?
That costs you the most with your general maintenance,
Yes.
isn't it? So,
Dog drove, repairs and maintenance, you've got 100 and...
have we actually ever spent anything on it?
No.
No, so leave it.
And then drainage and allotment rents again, I've added a little bit in for Northern Drive. Oh, hello,
Hi,
Sophia.
you're right.
Hi.
First time I've been here, so.
That's what we're in the
We're just in open spaces, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Spaces,
Shall I
spaces.
come in a minute?
it? Yeah, because we've got closed session.
Yeah, we've got a closed
Yeah,
session
we've got a
item,
closed
so would you mind waiting?
No worries.
Sorry.
That's
Thank
all right.
you.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Yeah. So do you want just to have a set figure for all the other lots, repairs and maintenance?
Well, they're not,
Yeah.
you
200
don't
quid
really,
each?
you don't really spend a lot, do we? Not on those.
Either 150 or 200 quid each, or for the rest of them.
So leave it at 160 or...
250.
250?
Yeah.
Do you think each? Yeah.
Better to be opening up than not enough, isn't it?
Share of finance.
Might not be this year.
So 250, 250. Gee, if you've got that left, you put in some proper markers, because the plank book we do need.
Yeah. So Park Road Cemetery, the only thing you've got to decide is tree work. Do you want to just do a general tree work budget overall for your open spaces, or do you want to split it up?
I would do general
Yeah,
budget.
so
Because
then
then
you know what
five
you've got
overall
each
each.
lot.
Got Road Cemetery, we've got water and sewage first. Do you want to put that up to 200?
Yep.
Tree work, yeah, do you want to put...
I think
We've
you
got
go.
£5 in this year's budget.
I think you go the same again.
You've got
Five
five
overall,
overall,
yeah,
yeah.
5 overall. So tree work overall
Yeah.
is 5. I've adjusted the locking and unlocking because it was over budgeted for last year because we didn't know the cost for them.
Should be 3,150, isn't it?
Cemetery fees, I've upped slightly, but I haven't gone silly because although we're really, really crazily busy, I think a lot of that is memorials and things on the back end of COVID, so there's no guarantees, although I will budget up, I will agenda to discuss the fees again because
We're in the budget.
our fees haven't now gone up for over a year, so.
Did we look into business rates for that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, so grass cutting, should we put that in
3.
about 3, yeah. Water and sewage again, 200.
So churchyard horticultural supplies is your plants, which would be inclusive of warming.
I think you're sticking there the same thing as what would have been in the previous budget, 1,000. Because that's what we would have been passing over, isn't it? So horticultural supplies
Well,
and church.
the churchyard is going to need more spending on it next year because of the whole changing over to a new.
It hasn't had as much this year, has it?
Carter's Park, you've got 600.
Well, what is the lot of them again?
It's split
It's
twice.
split, so it's between Park Road Cemetery and Castle Park. So, yeah, your plants for Castle Park.
So you've got
I don't think we should be putting any plants in until we start weeding what we've got.
It's just we've got, and I've got a lot to do in 5 minutes. So.
Just leave it in at the minute.
Leave it in at 600 and read into the Duncan.
Yeah, leave it 600.
New play equipment you don't need because it's doubled up.
Down there.
Yeah.
Tree work we covered.
Play equipment.
That's general maintenance. maintenance.
No, your play equipment will be inclusive of your projects at Cots Park.
Right, so we take that out.
Take it out.
333.
Yeah, so you whatever, if you just put in whatever they've agreed with the project, so trampoline, all of that stuff that's play equipment in that section.
Play equipment inspections, shall we up that to 200?
Mm-hmm.
Electricity, I'll put up to 3.5. Grass cutting, what, 2.5? Yeah, 200. Tree work we've dealt with, play equipment we'll take out. Play equipment inspections again, 200. Coal Beach Bank rent received, that's nothing because that was moved out of this, it's not in here anymore.
Do you need just play equipment stuff for repair and maintenance over Netherfield and Holch Bank?
It's done there.
Yeah. So yeah, don't take out Netherfield play equipment
Done.
because you'll need just basic repairs budget money.
So what should we put it in at, 400?
Yeah.
Tree work we take out, play equipment 400 again.
400, yeah.
That goes up to 200. Professional fees we don't need at all. Brown estate rent.
You reckon the grass cutters are reached
We're not allowed
Yeah,
to touch the
2.5.
trees down on the bank.
Sorry?
We're not allowed to touch the trees down.
No, that's what I said, it was in there incorrectly.
It got
It's
split
the
up
way
when
it
it
was
was
split up when
out.
they set the new accounts up.
Improvements to nature reserve, or person just put that under repair and maintenance.
This is what they wanted, the fence moving.
Fence, yeah, I'll close that as repair
Do
and
we have
maintenance.
a figure for that, Mark?
Yeah, 600.
600. Vehicle insurance for the Kubota, I've upped it by 100 because insurance seems to be going up crazy. And repairs. This is for the next financial year.
So we did have 1,200 in for vehicle repairs, didn't we, and you split them between the two Kubotas, but now you've got the zero term.
So,
Might need some, like a yearly service and types of
Going
that.
into
Yeah.
Wednesday.
I'm on about this, there's nothing on here.
So zero, it's got £300 in its repair and maintenance budget currently, because we just split it between the several bits, but
It will need servicing next year, won't it?
I mean, what
I would imagine.
the current service was 300 and something, wasn't it?
220, yeah.
125%.
Mm.
It's his first
That's
service,
his
so it's got to
first
go back to
service. It's oil
Sharpness.
change, isn't
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the quotas, are you going to, what figure are you going to put in for the repairs?
I think judging by what this year's been, I think you've got to go something like 2. Yeah, I think you've got to go 2.5 across all and then split it down.
So
Oh,
if you
50
do,
each.
if you do
Yeah.
1,000,
1,000,
500
500.
for the zero term.
Yeah.
And then 1,000 for other plant and machinery.
Yeah.
That's that one done then. I'll type that all up and give it to you. Might not be.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Work scheduling.
I think basically it is, we're going to have to just crack on with, we've only literally got 2 weeks, haven't we?
So
For the next one.
they've done the bungalow hedge, they just need to finish that off. They're mainly doing shipping this week because Colin's going to be away for 2 weeks. So
As we'll be doing all our jobs,
I
which is
think really
basically
just carry on as it
it's
is.
just trimming up the hedging and any maintenance that he can do himself, he'll be doing in the next 2 weeks, so we'll just carry it over what we've got there at the minute.
Proposer? Yeah, second. Churchyard maintenance, same thing. I'm presuming is in the.
It was basically talking about what we discussed at the meeting, and we need to have that meeting and work out what we're going to do basically, guys.
so do you want to defer
Defer.
that?
Defer that until we've had a meeting with the community council.
Right, so can I have to defer, please? Okay. Great.
KC to resolve to agree the work schedule.
So,
I would like to see some reading on at some
Yeah.
point.
We do Hallgate or
All right,
Everywhere.
so,
just
yeah.
reading?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think once we get them both back again, because, I mean,
It can be added into
it
our.
can be added into the next.
One of the areas that was brought up as well was the main entrance into the church, so that's under there. So, if we can propose agree the work schedule to carry on as is until the next meeting, and then we can
Just stick in the weeding into our.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the proposer, please. Thank you. And who's going to go to the work schedule?
When is it?
It'll be next week, won't it?
Well, do we need to? We don't really need to do another one. We can leave it now until after our
It says add weeding, carry
Yeah,
on.
just give them the, just have in the weeding and let them carry on, and then we'll do the work scheduling proper meeting once Colin is back.
Yeah,
And we will have had our next meeting pretty much, won't we?
Yeah. So, could I have a proposal, please? Thank you. Second that. Thank you. Great. So that's 1847.
Daniel, time for next 10 statements, can you?
So,
It won't be 4 weeks, will it?
18th. I can do.
Don't we go the week after full council?
That is
Yeah,
the
this
week
is all
after.
messed up a bit at the moment.
That's the week after full council.
Alright, so full council's not going to be the 10th then?
Yeah.
So you want to really go 2 weeks after full council?
So 26th, 25th?
And don't we need to be putting our dates back round, don't we?
Yeah, go middle between 2 full council meetings, something like that.
26th is a Wednesday.
Fine with me.
Or 25th, Tuesday?
I can do Wednesday or Tuesday, doesn't matter.
Tuesday would be better.
Tuesday,
Tuesday
25th
25th?
at 5 o'clock.
Yep.
Right.